Okay, hello. Here's another introduction to a book you might like to use for your extended comparative essay. This one is called Normal People and it's by Sally Rooney. It's probably the most modern text I am recommending and talking to you about. And you may have seen it on telly. Just recently, they did an adaptation on the television. I haven't watched it yet. Okay, so Normal People is about two young people last year at school in Ireland doing their equivalent of A-level and then going to university in Ireland. So it is about love, romance, relationships, but it's also very good about class. Very, I wouldn't even say subtle. The Marianne, who's the female protagonist, is from a well-off middle-class family and background, and Connell is from a much more working-class background, single parent. His mum works as a cleaner at Marianne's house. It's deceptively simple, which you might like. When you start reading it, you see how different it is to the earlier texts I've been reading out to you. But it's actually very deep, very moving. Really surprising how moving it is and how you get so interested in really the love story. I shouldn't laugh, there's nothing wrong with having a good love story, is there? So I'm going to read this bit out to you. You've got the extract in your extract books. And the heading says January 2011. Marianne answers the door when Connell rings the bell. She's still wearing her school uniform, but she's taken off the sweater. So it's just the blouse and skirt, and she has no shoes on, only tights. "Oh, hey," he says. "Come on in." She turns and walks down the hall. He follows her, closing the door behind him. Down a few steps in the kitchen, his mother Lorraine is peeling off a pair of rubber gloves. Marianne hops onto the countertop and picks up an open jar of chocolate spread in which she has left a teaspoon. "Marianne was telling me you got your mock results today," Lorraine says. "We got English back," he says. "They come back separately. Do you want to head on?" Lorraine folds the rubber gloves up neatly and replaces them below the sink. Then she starts unclipping her hair. To Connell, this seems like something she could accomplish in the car. "And I hear you did very well," she says. "He was top of the class," says Marianne. "Right," Connell says. "Marianne did pretty good too. Can we go?" Lorraine pauses in the untying of her apron. Okay, so you'll notice it's present tense, which is quite interesting, and there's not a lot of description. And when you look on the page, you also notice there's not a lot of speech tags to let you know who's speaking when. So you might find that interesting as you're reading. I think modern writers like to kind of not he says, she says. They try and avoid that. So yeah, if you fancy a love story, a story about class, a story about modern young people, that's a nice book. I'd recommend it anyway if you just want a book to read.